Let's hope that this one will go the distance and we will eventually see Cathay. But we need to get there first. We've got the bands to start off with here, Chalet.
EVA going to throw everything they've got at Cyclops. Cyclops, well, they have so much pressure on their shoulders as the reigning champions, as a team fallen out of form, failed to qualify for the major. They know exactly what they need to do to get their confidence back, and it is to take down EVA, and then march forward and win the whole damn tournament. But as we get in, already some pretty classic operator bands. Of course, EVA do not want to face Anitson on the Monty.
No, I don't think I would either. Honestly, the last thing I want to be doing is trying to face a Monty, regardless of what team it's on. But Cyclops in particular, Anitson has been a beast. We saw it yesterday as well against Reject. So Lion then getting banned out. So a little bit of that roam game is going to be more so allowed for the defense. Mozzie and the final ban being Valk. The intel game for the defense has been hindered.
Interesting to see that Mozzie ban, yes, like you're saying, good information alongside the Valk, but particularly a lot of information denial. Very on-meta operator at the moment, Mozzie, and funnily enough, a favorite of many of these players on both teams. I think that for Anitson, his favorite defender was Mozzie as well. But you can see Cyclops, they're happy to migrate onto other operator picks. And especially since it's CAG starting on their attack, they'd rather throw off EVA's game and prevent them from having that Mozzie in the arsenal. Maybe they're going to have to flex over to a mute if they want to try and deny some droning. But it looks like that mute is, well, it's not even present whatsoever in this lineup. So Cyclops, realistically here, they should have just about all the info that they would need to take the map.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being
Starting out over at Bar now, we've seen very much varied success, especially in the match just prior with Fab and, oh goodness me, my mind has already gone blank. Fab and Othras. That was, to be honest, I don't even know whether we were truly expecting, like we didn't have huge expectations on what might have been shown for Chalet. One thing that was for damn sure was the basement was a really 50-50, and I know that we've talked about this in the past. Basement's probably the weakest site that we have on this map, but what we were seeing consistently were those roams, and I don't think that's going to change in any way, shape or form. I think EVA, even if they don't necessarily stick into a roam, I'm sure that we'll see very early on just showing face on one side of the map, falling back, but for now we are going to see that extension above in the library, which has just become oh so familiar.
Yep, that's it on this Bar Games Room defense. A significant roam here from EVA. You can see X all the way in Solarium and Rera as well, roaming on that top floor. Amber holding down the fort in Library, about to feel some pressure as Cyclops begin to snake their way around that bomb site. Gatorada's going to try get some info, but a wasted drone, all things considered. The Cyclops need to figure out how they're going to try and clear this position. Can be very difficult with the Wamai in tow, as the ADSs and magnets are attempted to be wasted by the flash. That is a very ambitious jump in. I have absolutely no clue how that worked for Gatorada.
No, absolutely not. I think it was just fortunate that he did go prone. Otherwise, I don't think he was going to be able to hit that shot fully blind. Very quick trades from EVA though. Aegator and Anitson have been taken down at the hands of Marvi and Sifty. Gatorada now poking and prodding. Don't think there's anyone across toward Mezzanine, but he does have to be worried about the players toward Piano and the top of Library stairs. Gatorada trying to spray through, but it's Marvi that finds the kill.
And traded straight back by Black Ray as he marches up the stairs. Now he has this defensive position to hold on to, but we can see two EVA players, X and Rayra. You can see the way that X supported Rayra by allowing him to go down that hatch. EVA are just trying to regroup. They're trying to retake this ground. They know that Cyclops have taken a lot of this map control. That said, the jig is up, the info is out. Suzu C and Black Ray have got a lot of work to do.
They do, and between them, they've only got one drone on the actual field. Obviously, three more sit in places that are going to well and truly give them an impact. They've only got one that they can use, and Suzu.
This pick could be everything.
Oh, god damn, Sifty. Never had a shot. Rayra now. 1v2.
Oh, what is that shot? Suzu's the last man standing for CAG. I don't think Rayra knows where the diffuser's been planted. Suzu's got to hold on. No C4 left in tow. Suzu peeks it. Rayra dances around those bullets, attempting to return fire. And he's about to round this corner.
Oh,
what is that clutch? In the opening round, EVA put their trust in Rayra to get the job done.
Defenders disabled the diffuser.
Absolutely phenomenal. How was that shot on a player sitting behind the deployable shield there, just next to the bar? That was so on point. And this is the kind of tone and the tempo that we expected coming out from CYCLOPS. We saw it yesterday in their game. We're seeing it again. They're more than happy to get the building and to force fights, to force you out of position. EVA, they faltered in the slightest margin, but very quickly do they find their trades. From there, it just felt like, honestly, it was anyone's game. The fact that CYCLOPS opened up on site, I think was very fortunate to Suzu, who hit a really disgusting shot behind that reinforcement in between bar. But what a clutch. And I mean, what a way to start out our first match here between these two teams. EVA, they're here to play. And now CYCLOPS are going to be careful.
Oh, fantastic to see a player like Rayra really step up. And EVA show no fear against CYCLOPS. You might have thought that coming into this match from the very bottom of the Japan League standings that they would be intimidated. Really nice Electroclaw there, spotted out by our observer, Amber. Make sure that that one gets at least 2 of the walls. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite get the second, the east side of that dining wall into fireplace. It does leave that exposed potentially for any secondary hard breach that Anitson or Airgator might have. In fact, it looks like the Kayid's not really going to matter whatsoever, as there's no hard breach aside from the Maverick. But hey, you know, it's a nice strategy, and it did, I guess, change the way that EVA can play around it somewhat.
I do find it incredibly curious that they haven't gone for any of the hard breaches outside of that Maverick. X is going to be slowing down any kind of movement, any kind of information that CYCLOPS may be trying to gain there. The intel from Black Ray has been all but denied for now, so they're going to move on to a different place and a different time. So far, so good. Oh yeah, you know that that's going to happen, don't you?
I mean, he has no idea, but we do. We see the outlines. We know how close Airgator is. Oh, the shield just blocks the line of sight. I thought there might have been a shot possible there, but at least now the window's open. Black Ray can send out the Rotero, try and clear this utility. That should well get both the Prisma and the shield, and indeed it does. Fantastic utility clear, and the opening pick as well as second. And CYCLOPS are absolutely owning EVA.
What a read from Anaton as well. I don't know whether he had the sound cue from the barricade breaking, but regardless, there was the air jab pre-placed. X ran straight into his own demise. And now they're going to start to clear out. Oh, the trophy position, Anaton! That's disgusting through a drone hole, no less. But now Rayra really do some damage.
Certainly going to have to. Marvi as well. Oh, no. They just didn't check about where that Jaeger had gone. Now it's 2 EVA players upstairs, while CYCLOPS have flooded through that bomb site. You're going to have to be extra careful not to get picked off as Anitson tries to plant down in the smoke. This is a smart play. It's going to be very difficult to see him from above, despite the lines of sight that EVA have. That smoke completely obfuscates any option for them to try and deny that plant. Now it's a retake. Not going to happen. Surely not. Oh, that's a bit of damage. And eventually finished off by Marvi. The trade, Anitson has been on fire. Now Rayra has to 1 versus 2 clutch, just like he did 1 round past. Surely it's not possible 2 rounds in a row. Anitson, a 4K? Insane.
From start to finish, Anaton Just exactly what you would want from a player like that. You think that you've gone and hindered his ability to play because you've banned out the Monty. Well, no, you haven't nerfed him, you've buffed him, you've given him a rifle. And this is what happens. This is what happens when you unleash the beast inside CYCLOPS with a very convincing round. I mean, you think about the way that they took that, the kind of emphasis that they were putting all around the map. They took piano beautifully. They managed to flush out the players in bedroom. They also dealt with the utility toward trophy. And that's not a typical kind of take that we generally see on that site. Generally, we're seeing, you know, from library across, trying to dismiss those hard breach denial devices, if that makes sense, the electric claws, the bandit charges, etc., etc. But I do think that that was incredibly impactful from CYCLOPS, and EVA have an indication that they know what went wrong and they should be able to fix it.
Curious to see going straight for that same bomb site. I'm just trying to compare the operator choices. It looks like the Warden is new, and I mean, when Anaton is getting a 4K on Ying planning inside smokes, I probably think that's a good decision. I think that the Warden could certainly be a point of failure for CYCLOPS if Anaton perhaps puts too much trust into his flashes. But then again, you know, it was all these different isolated picks that it's not as simple as one operator choice is going to completely revolutionize a defense.
Or an attack either, because Anaton is no longer on the Ying. Anaton has actually swapped onto the Twitch, which obviously still has, I mean, it's still got the smokes, and you've still got 6 flashes from the rest of the remaining CYCLOPS members. But, you know, this is just the thing. Look at how, like, this is the approach that I kind of expected from CYCLOPS. It's a vastly different approach. However, they still don't have a second hard breacher, or they don't have, I mean, I would necessarily call it a main hard breacher, like a Thermite or a Habana, for example, because I do feel like Maverick is always that second kind of pick that allows you to open things up a little bit more freely. So I do find this incredibly curious that they are going for this approach this time around.
In fact, Anaton's played a different operator every single round so far. What's Rayra up to here? Looking for a run out, but there's no one there, and his position is spotted. Black Ray looks to punish, now completely aware of that rotation available. Let's see what Anaton can do on the Twitch. Fantastic weapon, the FAMAS, the F2, in the hands of a player that knows how to use it. And we know that despite, like you said, Anaton being known to play the shields, he is no stranger to taking a gunfight.
Not in the slightest. And we saw it yesterday. His ability to be so versatile on shield operators and, I mean, just quote-unquote rifle operators is incredible. He's got such a wide variety of play styles, and I think it's so hard to try and deal with. And right now, Rayra has been taken down. You're now going to see CYCLOPS start to put pressure vertically. They are now going to start to take Solarium across by the looks of the outlines. And EVA, what do they have to deal with this?
Fortunately for EVA, they've denied a lot of information. Only 3 drones left for CYCLOPS. So CYCLOPS need to start finding some more picks. They found the opener, but here comes the reply from X. Suzu C falls straight off that window. There is a good trade, though, from Black Gray on the reverse repel. 4v3 now for CAG. Anaton picks that diffuser back up. It starts to put some pressure back onto EVA.
His X is really that player you want alive in the last couple of seconds. And now we do look to the lights of Amber, Marvi, Sifty. What can they get done? How long can they hold for? Trophy is now going to be the point of contention. This is where they're going to be taking from. Smoke comes in, and Anaton's just going to be able to stick this. Can CYCLOPS deny this? Oh, sorry, EVA.
The nade, the pressure, there's just so much. But Anaton's actually been downed. Amber has done so much. The impact and the read, that smoke is not going to save you. Marvi now from above. It looks like CYCLOPS are inside a kill box. And EVA can just hold on, absolutely nothing Black Ray can do from the rappel. What a fantastic plant denial.
That is the problem when you do not deal with the vertical play. And the only flaw in the playstyle for CYCLOPS there, very hard to deal with when you've only got the Maverick to try and flush out from study across to bedroom. And when you don't address that, when you allow that to kind of play freely, sure, there was a smoke down, you're going to be able to play inside it, but that just leans into the way that EVA were playing then. And they They absolutely, well and truly execute to perfection. And for all of the might that we saw from Cyclops, from all of the different avenues that they took, the approaches that they managed to kind of open up for themselves, it is EVA that come out on top. And honestly, so far so good, Deb. This is what we'd hoped for.
I don't know if we have that match on our hands yet, but it's on the table, and our hands are certainly our hands are open, you know, palms wide, just waiting for that match, you know, waiting for that match to land. Funnily enough, Chalet has actually had a 50-50, exact 50-50 defense attack round split in the Japan League. I believe, did you and Guz chat about this earlier today in the previous matchup?
Yes, yeah, it was a highlighted comment, and funnily enough, the game went 3-3 on both halves. So there you go. It's life imitating art almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah, oh, that it is. Yeah, isn't that just absolutely insane? Over, what, how many rounds? What, 73 plus 73, 146 rounds in the Japan League this year on Chalet. 73 attack round wins, 73 defense round wins. Just goes to show the consistency on this map for Japanese teams. Now, one thing to note, EVA only won that first round on the back of a 1v2 from Rera.
Yes.
So, in theory, CYCLOPS should have won that. So, I don't think that they would be kicking themselves too much. That said, an early pick onto Annington. Immediately traded back, but hey, that's something that EVA can be certainly very happy to oblige.
The only asterisk to that comment is the fact that it's the smoke. It's the player that you really want in the late round, the player that you want to be able to burn through that time and slow things down for Cyclops. And if there's one thing we know about Cyclops, it's that they're very quick. They're very efficient at getting done what needs to be done. You've seen more often than not, they've had so much time left on their hands when they start to go for these executes, get a radar. That is so unfortunate. Not what you love to see.
Certainly not. That is very, very unfortunate for Gatorada and for Cyclops. 3v4 now. And, I mean, what can we say? EVA don't really have to do much. They can sit, they can just hold. It's really up to Cyclops to get something done here. And with a man disadvantage attacking this bomb site, if you're not going for a map sweep, I mean, it's about risk-taking, and that's exactly what Cyclops is going to have to do, especially now that EVA have retaken this power position. Marvi has made a fantastic read, but oh my god! Black Ray! That is so perfect. Now numbers have flipped on their head, and CAG are in the driving seat.
A fatal error for EVA. This could really come back to bite them. This could cost them. This is exactly how that first round went as well. They were up the man advantage. They were looking dangerous, but Cyclops fought tooth and nail to bring this back, and now they may well have to clutch up again. That is a huge pick from Amber. No. X swings under the corridor, and Black Ray is all that remains for Cyclops.
Two flashes. First one goes through, but flashes himself. Amber takes a lick of damage, but onus here on Black Ray to clutch the 1v2. Needs to push and take down the player in stock, and so he does. There's no time to jump back in this window and get this diffuser planted. Won't even give it a crack, and X can just run away. Tail between their legs for Cyclops as EVA find themselves in the advantage. 3 rounds to 1. Against the reigning Japanese champions.
Couldn't ask for a better start from EVA here. They've looked to compete in every single round. Even the round that Cyclops took, still close. Wasn't an absolute blowout. Phenomenal work so far from what we consider the underdogs, what we consider the David in this Goliath story. But again, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. 2 remaining rounds here for Cyclops to claw back. Finishes 3-3, it's on par. Have to remember that. And maybe the bans have shown us something. Maybe the Valk ban and the Mozzie ban making things a might make things a little bit more difficult on defense. Chalet might even support the attack. We'll wait and see. But right now, Cyclops are just not having that impact, not having that wow factor. Because EVA, they are stepping up to the plate.
Certainly an exciting prospect for EVA. That said, the only two bomb sites that they've played so far this match, Kitchen Dining and Park Games, they've now won. Which means they've got to flex over onto another site. They're going to go Master. Really glad to see Master instead of Snowmobile and Wine Cellar. I just don't think that's a very strong garage, and I think the stats speak for themselves. What a fantastic drone, though, from Gatorada. Part of this master bedroom defense is the vertical play. You can see that's why EVA was setting up downstairs, and Gatorada having that really early and strong information in dining is going to make taking that control away from EVA oh so much easier.
It's very much the similar talking point that we look at for both, Master and Kitchen, right? The vertical play is going to come into effect, and you do need to, at the very least, manipulate it in some sort of way. And that drone will give them the info, give them the intel that they need to be able to do so. Where Cyclops go to approach from, it does look like Library may well be the first point of contention, the first POI even. And then from there, it depends how well they kind of open this up. Where these opening engagements go, that's always the big question. EVA have really been quite phenomenal in, at the very least, trading quickly. They may not win every single opening fight, but they are quick to respond.
That said, Cyclops have been fairly efficient here in their map control. There's a lot of information all over the map. I think it's a really strong asset for Cyclops, considering how often they've been losing their drones and losing info. And now they've pre-placed a lot of drones in spots where I think it'll be very difficult for EVA to take down. And now they've got to work on this main wall. There's no wall denial to speak of. And so that's a freebie for Anderson, who's flexed onto the thermite. This is just like clockwork for Cyclops.
Something we expect from Cyclops is their ability to thrive under this kind of chaos, under this pressure, under the time constraints that they almost put on themselves. It feels like they tried to speed run some of these rounds, and you're seeing it right now. I mean, with a minute 30 left, they pretty much had everything open that they needed to, and now they can start to work on this player toward Kitchen. This would be absolutely perfect from Gatorada.
The exact drone that we already mentioned, Gatorada just watching and waiting and hoping that that player will push, but Alligator actually gets trade. That's a very aggressive jump out from Rayra, and no trade to speak of. Another aggressive jump out from Amber. Black Ray goes down, and Cyclops are starting to find this round to be rather unwieldy. They've managed so much progress, but there's still so much to be done.
Phenomenal right now from EVA. Amber stuck in the corner of Piano. That completely blinded, though. Is the support from Bedroom going to be enough? They get absolutely minced. The trade is not favorable for Cyclops whatsoever. This is unbelievable from EVA.
Now all they got to do is hold. It's on Suzu and Gatorada to clutch up, and Suzu does find one, traded back. And now Marvi, and I mean, that's it. Gatorada taken down. Would you believe it? A 4-1 lead for
It would be pretty mental. Like the storyline that we'd kind of we'd lean into there would not be the most polite one. I mean, this is a team that has domestically always been phenomenal, and then you think about regionally in the APAC leagues and all the way back in the day, Cyclops have always been a force to be reckoned with. On the tail end of 2021, they're finding themselves in a position where teams are really starting to take this fight to them, and I think that's just going to show where the Japanese scene is at right now. It's all starting to come together. That skill discrepancy that we talk about in Australia, Dev, is shrinking in Australia, it's shrinking in Japan, it's shrinking in Southeast, it's shrinking all across the globe just because of the fact that we're seeing more opportunities for these teams. And I mean, this is probably one of the biggest and one of the best opportunities domestically that I can think of.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not just, of course, the Japan Championship, but the whole X-Moment Japan League that we have. is an absolutely insane prize pool, and all of the teams competing in it as well get team allowances, which is the equivalent of 180,000 USD per team. You've got the Japan League with over 32 million yen, which is 280,000 USD over the year. That's plus this tournament right here, which alone, the winner of this tournament gets 8 million yen. That is 70,000 US dollars. That is unreal. And Cyclops are looking at that prize and thinking, well, that's ours. That's ours. That is our birthright.
It's probably the best way to put it, isn't it? Yeah, 100%.
They need to step it up. And they know that as well. You know, chatting with Hybrid, who's their coach from Italy, oh, come on, Rayra. Oh, punished. At least Cyclops don't let that slip through their fingers.
I think AE Gator's watching for that because obviously we had seen Rayra try that, I think only 3 rounds ago now. So it's very cheeky for Rayra to even attempt that again. But regardless, this time it is punished. Now you look at the drone economy for Cyclops, it's not utterly poor by any means. Only 5 live drones, and you've got, whatever Black Ray still has in his pocket too for the Roteros, which it looks like he's only got 2 more. So they just do need to monitor that because still with a minute left, last thing you want to be doing is running out of intel so late into the round.
It has been a consistent issue this match so far for Cyclops. They're losing so many drones. But now they've taken some map control for it, and that's a great start. They've got the kill as well on the opening, which is fantastic, but EVA still have some strong positions. The vertical game, though, could be the death of them. Black Ray has snuck into sight, Rob. How has he managed to pull this off?
I don't know. X has found a kill on an AE Gator, which makes things a little bit more interesting. Sifty as well. Now Black Ray trying to find a trade. They've got absolutely no idea of his positioning. But, I mean, Cyclops have all the information they could possibly need. This is unbelievable. Marvi is the only player left standing, and not for much longer. Gatorada sits him down. A 4-2 first half on the back of Cyclops bouncing back.
A much-needed breath of air for Cyclops. They were suffocating, but they bring it back to, as you say, a 4-2 half against them. A lot of legwork to be done on their defense to make this game, put it away nice and tight. But one thing we can say for certain, Rob, this is certainly not as much of a breeze as Cyclops' first game was just yesterday against Reject.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, what's kind of crazy is the fact that Reject actually played really well. Guz and I were incredibly impressed by their performance, but also the way they went about it. So even though it was 2 7-3s, and look, I hate doing this as a caster. It's like, oh yeah, it was 2 7-3s, but they fought well. I truly do mean that. Oregon was no pushover whatsoever from Reject, and there were a couple of clutches in there from CAG. We then went to Clubhouse, where I think we saw 2 or even 3 clutches in a 1v2, 1v3 position for CAG that ended up winning them the game. So that very easily could have gone to a 3rd map. Hell, we could even have Reject playing EVA E right now if we had have been able to see that. But certainly, this is a much more competitive scoreline than what we saw yesterday. And I think Cyclops now are kind of meeting their maker in terms of what happens if you make little mistakes. Reject weren't able to capitalize on it as much, whereas right now, EVA E are punishing them every single chance they get.
Like we've alluded to, Cyclops are having a dry spell at the moment, and what they need more than anything else right now is a win here in the Japan Championship. They know what they've been struggling with, and that's what Hybrid said to me, is every time we get close, we always fall short of that eventual goal. And they've said that they understand they need to go back to a more structured play style, which is really interesting to hear that from the team, iconic for their aggression, but they've identified what they think is the problem and what they need to work on.
Cyclops with a very big extended roam, considering where this site is. Gatorada all the way up on that top floor. Black Ray Only Oryx can really do whatever he needs. Gatorada's been spotted. He needs to get out of there. So to his Black Ray. They do so unaffected. Oh, Gatorada. No way. That was ridiculous.
Gatorada is just around the corner from all these EVA players in Solarium, and he seems to have absolutely no clue whatsoever. X, it's about to round that corner, but I mean, talk about no clue. Same case here for EVA. Oh, the drone comes through. Does it? I believe that's on the floor below. I don't think Gatorada's been droned out. And CYCLOPS are like rats in the rafters at the moment. Finally, they do spot out Gatorada, and he almost wins that fight onto X. But fortunately for EVA, they eventually get that trade.
A trade that was very much needed, but 2 minutes off the clock before they really were able to, use that to full effect. Marvi is now down and out for the count. That is the Yana. 2 nades plus the Gemini that can have a huge impact toward the later parts of this round, especially when you consider the fact that Suzu is playing the Aruni. That's the Sawyer gates that are going to be a little bit of a menace to try and deal with. But when you're hitting your shots, I guess it doesn't matter. Amber, not shy of taking those fights. Can't deny the C4. It was only an inch off, but Gator on the sharpest of sharp lines finds a kill, and the nade might trade.
It certainly will. See you later, Gator. 2v2 now as EVA inch closer, but that time is ticking away. Sifty's got around this corner and find the pick. He does one-on-one. Can he get it? Sifty's got to find Anderson, but Annie can just run away, and there is no time. CYCLOPS start with a very, very close opening defense.
Whew. Sweaty one at that, though. Could have been a completely different story had Amber been able to shoot out that C4 that came over the top and really was the demise of, I believe it was Rayra. And now is when the durability of EVA's mental game will come into play. In the next 3 rounds, it is so vitally important that they don't let this hinder them, that they don't get shaken, because CYCLOPS will come back with a vengeance. So they will come back with a bite. EVA have to be ready for it.
They're taking their tactical pause right now. EVA, they're not really behind as of yet. They still have that advantage, but jump on it early. I think that's the right choice to make. CYCLOPS, though, of course, this tactical pause essentially works for both teams. Both teams able to speak to their coach. Or at least, for CYCLOPS at least, they have a couple of coaching staff. I believe it's the same for both teams. I believe they're only able to talk to the coach that's actually on site. Not so, for example, CYCLOPS, they have an Italian head coach hybrid on top of Fuji, who was the one, I believe, standing behind them. And then EVA have Arthur, who I believe is still in Brazil at the moment. But yeah, fairly certain that they also had another support staff standing behind them who they would have been able to talk to just then. But really more so than anything, often players know what they need to go wrong. They just need more time to talk about it.
Yeah. And it's been such a point of discussion for us, Dev, in APAC South and, of course, domestically in OCM. A lot of the times we see these tactical timeouts, we actually look back on, and they are a huge positive net effect for the team that takes it, right? They're able to, if there's momentum gaining, let's say for CYCLOPS and EVA have taken that timeout, it will give them that moment just to slow things down and ensure that CYCLOPS can't just keep kind of batting on and just, smashing them into the ground. Because that's what it feels like sometimes for some of these teams. Once they get on a roll, it's really hard to slow down. So I would actually love to go back and have a look at how many times attack timeout has actually worked in favor of the team, but I would say it's near on 60–70% because it does just recompose you, and as you said, gives you time to sit back and relax. And now moving forward, EVA, they will be attacking kitchen and dining. CYCLOPS well and truly prepared for that. They are extending though, and they're not shy of doing so.
We're also seeing CYCLOPS with the Echo, something we've seen a lot from them recently. Anderson loves to get aggressive with those Yokai drones. Gatorada, that is a fantastic angle. Doesn't have to aggressively peek the hatch, actually has a vertical line more directly, but ever so close to flushing him out. Gatorada, a perfectly timed escape there. The nade would have cost him his life had he decided to overstay his welcome, but he gets out of dodge.
Again, burnt a minute off the clock, plus a lot of utility. Drones are now being shot. Oh my God, there's only 5 drones left, I believe that is, for EVA. So with a minute 40 left on the clock, you've got 2 players without a single drone in their hand. Amber and Sifty are now going to need to be that kind of pinpoint precision that the attack are going to need.
So let's see what EVA are up to, because CYCLOPS have basically all but retreated back to this site. Here comes some hard breach onto that main, what's the master bed, the master office wall. That does enable some lines of sight to deny any vertical game from the defense. Of course, we can see that most of these players from CYCLOPS are actually still downstairs. I believe there are 2 roamers still upstairs. Hard to see from the outlines, if I'm honest, but EVA are just going back and forth, trying to figure out how they can deal with this. They've taken so much ground.
Yeah, they've got Gatorada over in Solarium, and Suzu's actually backed away. So it is just Gatorada that's staying up top now. How much can he get done? He needs to try and hit some of these sharpish shots. He's going to back away, though. Great call again, but he's going to be caught by Rayra. Fantastic work as X gets taken down. Amber 2, quick as you like. You blink, you miss it. 30 seconds left. EVA scrambling to try and get something on the board here.
Yeah, snap your fingers, and EVA have seemingly fallen apart. Now, they only have a 1-man disadvantage, but oh, that might change. Oh my God, Aegator just absolutely neoed that. Dodged underneath. Marvi now has to rotate. There is 10 seconds left. And CAG, well, I mean, it's not over just yet as EVA force their way in. Rayra really vulnerable, but cannot get that diffuser down. CYCLOPS on the back of EVA's tactical pause, they push through.
And when you look at the playstyle that CYCLOPS took into that, when you look at the approach they took in, there's no wonder why they were able to burn so much time off that clock. EVA just never found themselves in the position where they could capitalize. I think Rayra was the first player to find a kill, and that was with 40 seconds left. So by that time, Gatorada, Suzu, all of these players had already done what they needed to do. They burnt time off the clock. They burnt utility that they could not use. And then when push came to shove, once they knew that they were in Solarium, Aegator, as risky as that was, Dev, pops his head through a little hole and just throws the smoke blades out, slows things right down. And then from that point, EVA are just in so much trouble. So really fantastically played from CYCLOPS in the approach and the way that they weren't overzealous, over-peaking. They were finding the timing and they were getting away scot-free. We now look to them again here and really ask the question, what kind of extension are they going to do? Are they going to be below? Are they going to be extending into library? One thing, though, that has persisted to be a question for me are these Yokais. They have been put in aggressive positions time after time, and they have, in fact, been able to kind of insinuate an aggressive play style. Suzu has actually been on the receiving end of the support from a player like Anatan, who kind of, you know, concusses early on for a player on the attack. Very quick are they to capitalize, but they need to be able to do so. And you already saw one Yokai already toward the top of Mez or Fireplace.
While CYCLOPS are enabling that aggressive playstyle and playing into it, you know, it's tempered, it's smart aggression, and they know when to fall back. A perfect example of that is Gatorada playing in reading. I mean, he's doing it again, but he didn't really try and overstay his welcome. He just retreated back. Does he have an ADS protecting him? Oh, no, he doesn't, but he's got a hash to drop down. And once again, right as I say it, CYCLOPS, they contest early, they waste a nade and some time and some drones, and then they just fall back.
And you know what? One of these rounds, they're going to stay aggressive, and this time it's punished. Marvi manages to catch him rotating back into Fireplace after some sort of an ambitious run out. Gatorada, though, that line could be really quite dangerous. It's back away, and now Anatan. Where's this Yokai going to be going to?
Ooh,
I like the
can't quite
intel,
stick
though.
to the roof. Yeah, I mean, it's great info, but it's just so risky, right? Because
Yes.
Yokai does make some sound, and no longer is it closed. Oh, and I think they just took it down, in fact. I'm pretty certain EVA, in fact, now in charge of the info. They've got so many drones. Gatorada really feeling that pressure. Oh, what a shot from Marvy! Thread that needle.
What a shot. If he gets away there, I mean, you're really in a bit of trouble to try and catch him. You're going to be either forced with a decision to flush him out, or you are just going to have to let him go right now. Cyclops, they've got one player aggressive by half wall. That is Suzu. The remaining members, where are they? It looks like they're sitting quite deep, in fact. They're not going to be playing from piano, so if Suzu goes down, they won't be able to deny it, but it won't make a difference because he does find the opening kill on Rayra. He's going to stay alive for as long as possible here, though. 50 seconds for EVA to really start to mince through this defense.
And Suzu is the first line of defense. Oh, and the foot is seen. Sifty. Oh, I mean, it's all Suzu now. The last one standing. It's an easy cleanup for Amber and for EVA to retake this lead now. Just 2 rounds from stealing Cyclops' map pick.
Seems like CAG are now taking their tactical timeout. They've give themselves a moment to think about what's going on. I guess, you know, you don't want to get... You don't want them bouncing back in that fashion. If you can slow the bleeding, if you can stop the bleeding altogether, even better. And, I mean, all things considered, EVA was a fantastic attack. That's exactly what they would have been hoping for, exactly what the doctor ordered for them. As we now look to Cyclops on this defense, tidy things up just a little bit more. You don't want this going OT. If I'm being completely honest, if you're CAG, you want every game in regulation. Every game in regulation.
EVA got to be feeling pretty good about themselves right now. Taking a moment now to have a drink of water, to rediscuss Cyclops. You can see Black Ray in the middle there. They really need to get a wriggle on because they can't afford to lose another round, like you said. Otherwise, this is guaranteed at best for Cyclops an overtime win. To think that Cyclops did not drop a single map out of 14 games in the Japan League. For them to lose on their own map pick here when it matters more than ever before, I mean, that would be unreal. Especially, I mean, you add to that, right? They went 14-0 in the Japan League. They didn't have to play the group stage of the Japan Championship. They got seeded directly into the playoffs, and they 2-0'd Reject there as well. Like, Cyclops have not lost a single map in the entire Japan League and Japan Championship this year.
Terrifying. That is utterly terrifying. What do you even say to that? You know what I mean? Like, what do you...
It's the first time for everything. That's what you say if you're EVA.
Yeah, I guess if you are EVA, that's just the entire conversation, isn't it? It's, you know, the mighty have to fall sometimes, and why not? Why not at the hands of yourselves? Why not at the hands of EVA? Right now, Cyclops once again, they will continue to extend above, will continue to shoot drones, to back away, to keep ever vigilant. You can see there's a player all the way up on that top floor. Black Ray now just reinforcing the dining hatch. But EVA just have to be vigilant in how they, or in what they decide to do. You don't necessarily have to directly, you know, adhere to the roam clear, but it is something that if you don't do, you will be punished for.
The thing about this bomb site, Wine Cellar Snowmobile, we've talked about it a lot. It can be quite weak for a defense, because if you just bunker down site, I mean, you're going to lose if the attack play is pretty, you know, standard. And so you have to lean into this roam. You have to lean into aggression. That's why we see Gatorada up here now. He's been droned, gets spotted, and X is on the hunt. Gatorada needs to land this shot, and he does. That is a pivotal 1v1. EVA really can't afford to lose many players on this roam. They have to do their due diligence. They have to ensure refrags.
Bomb has been located.
And so far, they just haven't.
There we go, finally. Sifty and the Flashes, that's how they find their opening. But here's the problem. You've lost the util from X, you've lost it from Amber. Sifty no longer has Flashes, does have the flank watch, of course, but now you're going to lean on Rayra and Marvi to get a lot of that damage done. If we are looking toward the nades, if we are looking toward the Flashes, they are going to have to play pretty much in unison to get this done. Still plenty of work to be done here for EVA. All they've done is negate the one player that was roaming upstairs, so it's definitely by no means a huge tick on the old book, but it is something that one step closer to that side.
And now comes a bit of a breach. Don't believe there's any opportunity for denial of this X-Kairos. 2 impacts from Aegator. I don't think... Oh my god, he did! He actually did it! Aegator with an impact through the drone hole. Completely shut down all of those X-Kairos. No breach for EVA.
That is devastating. That's absolutely devastating. And now it's going to be EVA that are going to need to pretty much brute force their way onto this site. Marvi, is he being spotted? Doesn't make a difference to be able to find a kill, but it's not even the kill. There's just down, and it's Sifty trying to push back in, but I'm telling you right now, CYCLOPS holding this down, but it's a 2 versus 2.
And there's so much info as well. That's a down! That is a down! It's just Black Ray up!
5 seconds to go.
And I don't think EVA know it, but all they've got to do is take down Black Ray. Now it's just a diffuser! And he does!
Eyes on the diffuser.
The 1v2!
Could it be that EVA are the Giant Slayers?
Oh, that's a good drone to take out early in the round. Though I do believe Eva would have seen that Suzu has 6 picks onto this cap can. But you can know there's a cap can doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be watching out for them, especially nowadays with the buff. It means you can put as many cap can traps on the same door frame or window frame as you would like. And that really, I mean, it brings back the deadly, you know, 1 doorway cap can kill. It used to be 60 damage per cap can trap. Now, I mean, it is still 60, but you can chuck 2 or 3 on there. 2 cap can traps will be enough to take out or at least down any 2 or 3 speed operator, which is all the operators that we've got on Eva right now are 2 speeds. So it's oh, Gatorada surely. Oh,
It's just completely blind though. Problem is, EVA haven't followed up on that. I feel like this might be a huge oversight because he may be able to get away now if he wants to. He's going to be completely blind and just making sure that they can't come through the single window. Gatorada is playing this like a magician. He's going to be careful coming around the corner. Marvi deals with him. And within the first minute, they've been able to not only take down Gatorada, but the player extending all the way to Library. That is not bad at all. They've got control.
Definitely puts EVA in a strong position for this round. CYCLOPS have really lost a lot of that time delay. Previously, Gatorada's been able to get out alive and continue being a bit of a terror on the roam. This time, not so much. Now EVA have managed to deal with the lack of hard breach denial and opened up that master wall. CYCLOPS have been forced back.
The Yokai live droning here for Black Ray. Certainly in a way that will give them the information that is required of them. Spraying as he comes back down the hallway, not finding a damn thing. EVA have found themselves in a very decent position. There's no doubt about it. Man up, they've got time now to go through and open these verts up. No. No, they don't, because Suzu is the thorn that forever stays in their side.
One problem here for EVA is they've just used all 3 of their ace Elmers in opening up that line of sight on Master and the hatch, which means they don't have any to open up this wall where Black Ray is. There's no way to breach that main dining wall. which is going to make holding inside of dining so much safer for Cyclops.
Oh, I love this from Gator. That's unbelievably played. The utility supports in an incredible way. Just as I said, it's the Echo that plays to full effect here, Dev. 3v3, EVA, they do not have the backside open. This is incredibly dangerous.
Oh, and that C4 is massive for Suzu C. Black Ray now just holds on to the line as Marvi falls. Rayra is surely not long for this world. Desperate in the 1 versus 3, the Yokai to completely stun him out. Cyclops grab match point.
There's the experience, there's the composure that you expect from a side like Cyclops. Spoke about it in the previous round when we saw the Yokai sit toward Fireplace. We didn't get to see the full effect of it, but this time we do. It sits on the stairs of Solarium, and it allows for Gator to get aggressive through his own smoke and take the opening pick. That's all it is from there, but it's certainly one that is quite impactful. It slows down EVA and their progress. And it's something that Cyclops are really just shining in right now, playing together like ABC. We'll wait and see whether EVA have the ability to push this to OT.
Bomb located by attackers.
They've got it through everything that they have got at Cyclops right now. It has been a valiant fight. 4 defense rounds on their half, but 1 attack is not going to be enough to confirm overtime. They're going to have to get just 1 more, and they've got to do it right now. No second chances. Cyclops have map 1 within their grasp. And as it is Cyclops' map pick, they really, really need to do it. Just look at Black Ray, 12 and 5. That's a +7 KD. That is just insane. Black Ray has been really on fire this game. And EVA need to shut him down. They need to step up. Otherwise, this valiant fight would have been for naught.
You know, it's easy for us to sit here and talk about Black Ray because he's just been an absolute menace. But one of the players who I think certainly hasn't had the impact in the kills, but has burnt through so much of EVA's time has been Gatorada. Time and time again, he's been baiting out so much. Black Ray, so aggressive, always happy to take these.
Oh!
What? Where? How? Where did Amber come from?
Amber was caught sleeping just then. Just playing on the west main stairs, didn't realize there was one all the way below. Gator trying to deal some damage with the shotty now, and Black Ray, surely Black Ray can trade this. He's found 2 on the round. Sifty does eventually finish off Gator. That's a lot of information strapped out. Marvi and Sifty are on the hunt for Black Ray downstairs. 14 kills, already 2 this round. They need to shut him down.
Reminder that we are playing at bar. Nowhere near where this action's taking place. That is the beauty of Chalet. Extensions, roams, lurks. You have to be so on point. You cannot afford for a second to make one mistake. As you've just seen there, a simple mistake like Amber coming back down the staircase, not knowing full well where Black Ray is, has cost EVA massively. 1:10 on the clock here. Cyclops are well and truly posed to take this.
Reloading.
Oh, and Gatorada now. He's impacted back onto Mezzanine, and he might be able to find an angle onto Rayra below, but Rayra falls anyway. And Rob, it looks like Cyclops have got map 1 in the bag. Marvi and Sifty, they're so close, but so far. Finally shutting down Black Ray. 2v3 now with 45 seconds. There is enough time to get the job done. Cyclops are quite separated at the moment, but still no diffuser in the hands of EVA.
Oh, Gatorada, that's gnarly. Here's the sound cue and just absolutely obliterates the chance for EVA to take anything on Chalet. Cyclops take their map pick.
What ended up being quite a dominant